Hello there. Welcome to week 8, I believe that we're in HBU land. In edX, we're in week 4, and hopefully you will have watched the lectures on behavior-driven design and behavior-driven design part 2, and you might be thinking about the homework number 3, which is of course due this Sunday evening. And so this is a little help lecture here, specifically focused on that. To get you started. So of course this is the place that this is what you'll see when you get to homework 3 on behavior-driven design. And behavior-driven design, we're going to be doing stuff kind of with the Rotten Potatoes website, and we're going to be writing acceptance tests, I guess, sort of user stories in Cucumber that are going to hit stuff and do stuff in the site. And this was demoed in these lectures, and it's also demoed in some detail in chapter 5. I do recommend reading chapter 5 in advance of doing this homework. In particular, I think it's section 5. Is it 5.5? No, it's not. Where is it? Oh, actually, no, I'm thinking about something. Well, one of the things I was going to say was, I think chapter 4 in the textbook, which is from Rails from Zero to CRUD, is, basically, ideally, you would have read that and watched all the screencasts and implemented the code that's suggested in the book in chapter 4 before doing homework 2. That would have been made homework 2 a lot easier. And in particular, section 4.5, excuse me, in chapter 4, debugging when thing goes wrong, is just absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. So even if you've I kind of struggled through homework 2 and I don't want to go back and read. Go back and reread section 4.5. That's debugging when things go wrong. And we'll review some more debugging stuff in the context of homework 3. Excuse me. So, chapter 5, I do recommend running. So, reading through that, watching the screencasts, implementing the code in chapter 5. Strongly recommend doing that before trying homework 3. Chapter 5 presumes that you have gone through chapter 4 and created the My Rotten Potatoes, which is another sort of similar version to it shows you how to put together the Rotten Potatoes site from scratch before the modifications that one made to it in homework 2. So anyway, where they start us on in homework 3 is we're going to write these cucumber scenarios to test a couple of happy paths of some of the things that we implemented in homework 2. As you remember, in homework 2, we implemented what did we have to do to be able to sort the lists in terms of the list of movies in terms of title and release date, and filter them in terms of what are they called, the ratings and so on. Now, so what we've got actually up on GitHub is SaaS book HW3 Rotten Potatoes, which is, if I open another one over here, if we go to github.com, we can see that here. So they've got repository there, and they put it up there. This is kind of a canonical solution, as it were, actually, to the homework 2. So you can, in principle, look at this to see how they did it. And I think I might do another when there's more time. I might do another detailed review of that code, but we'll see about that. Anyway, but so we've got that solution to homework 2, and that's a working. If you didn't manage to generate it as part of homework 2, that's a working example of the Rotten Potatoes site with the sorting and filtering working. So the idea in this case is that although really we should be writing our cucumber scenarios first and then implementing the functionality, it's sort of done this way around, just to sort of kind of get the pieces clear in our heads. So they've also got some scaffolding, as I say, for the first couple of scenarios. What they're suggesting though is create your own fork of this homework 3 Rotten Potatoes sort of shell, and then take a clone of it onto your local computer, which is kind of strange. I mean, but I did that when I went through this course back in the spring. I did that. I've still got my fork of their things. You see on here that you can go and click. Where's it gone? Fork up here. We can see that 2,260 people have been forking. There's lots and lots of all these people have been forking the homework 3 Rotten Potatoes, I'm not entirely sure why they suggest that. Maybe it'll become clear later. At the moment, for the purposes of actually completing this homework assignment, you don't need to fork it, as far as I can tell. At least I certainly managed to complete it without forking it. You can just clone the HW3 Rotten Potatoes onto your local machine, the VMware thing, just by inserting, instead of your GitHub account name there, you can just do SaaS book. I guess that their motivation for cloning it, forking it, is that then so that you can commit changes back up to GitHub, and that sort of assumes that you've got a private repository, which you might have got if you completed was it the homework 1 or the homework 2? Yeah, homework 1 thing, and you completed and you got the vouchers for GitHub for the private repositories, and I got one of those vouchers, but I missed the deadline for it. So anyway, they do mention in here this thing about committing as you get things working, which is a great idea, and you can do git diff to see, and then you got something working, hooray, it's all working, so you do git commit, put it in, and then you carry on doing something else, and then something breaks, so you can do git diff at the command line to see what changed, and that's sort of the track, because there's a terrible situation where you get it all working, and then you carry on another feature, and it breaks, and that's awful. And they also show that you can tag the different parts of it as well, and then diff against that. So that's something interesting to I mean, this is a great practice to get into. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe we'll show that. Then they've then got the other things you have to do with this tagging. I guess for the purposes of getting through this homework, we maybe don't worry about that. I mean, Git can really be your friend, but it's partly about knowing how to use it. I'll maybe try and demo that as we move forward. So let's go in here. They've after this introduction that says, right, let's grab a copy of it. I'm just going to do. I've done this already, but I'm going to do. What am I going to do here? I'm going to go and find. I've made it up in the temp directory here. I'm going to go and just grab a copy of their repository here, because that's faster, and I think actually, I did fork it. I guess follow their instructions. I'm gonna probably grab. I guess the thing that I would be concerned about is, did I fork it earlier in the year and it was different code base? Anyway, if you fork, their look at all these people doing different things. If you go to their SaaS book and you do fork, that will, and you're logged into GitHub, that will create basically a fork of their code base, and you can do this and grab a copy of it, and that should be fine. I guess we will see if I run into what problems I run into. One of the things I did run into here when I was doing this was my GitHub SSH keys, and I was getting some error messages about it saying no access denied, public key not found, and so on. And so there is basically they're very good help instructions from GitHub. If we do GitHub SSH keys help, but basically that it's in order for security, doing this stuff to the remote Git repositories from the command line, there you go, it's like generating SSH keys, GitHub help for whichever platform you're on. Of course, Ubuntu is Linux. So basically, if you start getting weird error messages about public keys, then you need to kind of go through here and make sure that you've added the local key for your Ubuntu box, the VirtualBox, to your what's it called, GitHub account. And I'll put a link up to that anyway. Hopefully, you won't have any problem with it. I'm a bit confused about why I was able to. What did I do in the previous one? The previous homework, we grabbed it and we pushed up to. I guess in the previous homework it was we were all sorting out keys with Heroku, which is different from sorting out keys from GitHub. But I thought, did we not clone the stuff down from GitHub in the previous one? Anyway, but so we've got a clone, and then so anyway, let's look in here. Let's look. We then get homework 3 rotten potatoes. So we go cd HW3 rotten potatoes like so, and you get So this is the working rotten potatoes with these couple of features that we added in homework 2, and it's also got some other bits and pieces in here. I guess if I go subline dot like this, and we'll discover pretty quickly if my copy of this. Let's go and have a look at features. let's see. Yeah, that looks the same. Step definitions, web steps here, movie steps. Yes, I think there is some stuff of my, because like this was from before, that's a bit older. Just for the purposes, so to try and avoid confusion, let us just quickly remove that version and go instead of getting, see, my fork of the code, let's go and get theirs, and that just means that would be, if you forked it now and you grabbed a copy of it, then you'll have this. So now HW3 in there, and we've got this, and so one of the things I've done is I've created this, well no, actually somebody else created it, and I've joined this Skype edX chat room, and there's people from all around the world there chatting about Skype edX and chatting about edX and the SaaS course and so on. And one of the very kind people there pointed out to me that interestingly, with the text editor, you can in fact oh no, don't do that. There is an option text editor. If you go over here, view, and you say side panel, you get this option here. You can get sort of like a view of your actually the entire file system, which is quite cool, like so, and you can see all the different bits and pieces. And so that was one of the things that I thought that gedit didn't have, and one of my motivations for moving to Sublime. But it does have that, so if you haven't installed Sublime, you can start using that from the gedit. But so anyway, let's get rid of that. Background, who knows? I don't know what that is. But I was running Sublime. Let's go back over Sublime. I think Sublime's got more sophisticated. It's a nice editor. So anyway, but going back to Sublime now, we should have this. So we've got the app that we became reasonably familiar with. Again, if you rather than just throwing yourself into homework 2, if you have worked step by step through chapter 4 and doing all the code there, you will know about building all of this stuff and getting it laid out, and it's really, really, really very helpful. In this homework, we're going to be working in the features directory here, which is where we're going to have these cucumber features, cucumber scenarios, I should say, that will test, that they will describe in natural language, what should be happening in the site, and then we've got to wire that up so that it actually exercises the site and checks that it's working. And you might ask, why are we doing this? The point is that as we keep on adding features, we want an automated way to check that all of the features are continuing to work. I'll just check in here, yes. So they've got slightly updated syntax in there, which is good. All right, so we've got. So this is the first step. It's just going back to over here. It's gone. Yeah. So the first thing to do is get this copy of the latest code, and you can go and nose around in there and sort of see how their canonical implementation of the features of sorting and filtering compares to how you implemented it. And bearing in mind these things about we've created our local repo and start doing these. I guess they just want to avoid getting loads of push people saying change it in this way, change it in that way. Anyway, but so the thing we've got these three components, or at least these 3 pages before we build up the submission. One of the things actually is, there seems to be a slight error here in that it says section 4.7 of engineering long-lasting software. I don't think it can be section 4.7 because 4.7 in the current version of the ebook and the paperbook is redirection of the Flash in the Rails chapter. I think they must be referring to basically chapter 5 and some section maybe 5.1. The goal of the behavior-driven development is to express behavioral tasks rather than low-level operations. So that's these scenarios, and they've got basically there's 2 scenarios: the filter movie and the sort movie, which correspond to the 2 things of filtering movies via rating and sorting movies via title and release date. So if we look at the filter movie thing here. What they've got is they've got this feature, display list of movies filtered by MPA rating, and we've got some description about who the stakeholder is, and we're going to populate the database in fact with this data to say these are the data in the movies, and then part of our job doing this homework is to write these scenarios, and so writing, I guess This is kind of like a step beyond what happens in Chapter 5. Chapter 5, there's a presentation of a number of scenarios, and then sort of implementing stuff to make those scenarios pass. But there are lots of examples of scenarios in Chapter 5, and we're also in the lectures. So kind of the key thing here in the first instance is, I guess this is before we get started on the next two sections, which are implementing making sure that the scenario for both filter movies and sort movies is worked out. What we have to do is get these background things to pass. So I think if we run Cucumber in the first instance, and this is another area of tricky thing. You might not immediately know how do I get Cucumber to run, and there seems to be a number of ways to do it. I think rake. I was finding that I was getting the most. You can type rake Cucumber. I was finding I think I got the best. If I was doing bundle exec Cucumber, because then I could add the name of the individual. Oh dear, what's going on there? Bundle exec Cucumber, like so. I was then finding that I could. So if you run that by itself, it'll run all of the features. It's going rather slowly there, but let's see, there it is, as concerned parent, and that's and that's rather a lot of stuff to be going through, and so you can instead say, I want my features, I just want to do the filter one, and then it will, I think you see that one, it's done filter movie and sort movie, and this allows it to run slightly faster, and it can focus just on that one thing. So that can be a confusing thing. First of all, is like, how do we get the Cucumber to run? So that's a good way to go there. You may need to do bundle install. I think that they even say that just to make sure that all of the gems should be there, but bundle install just in case they're not. But then that's how we run the individual Cucumber tests. So let's just run that again and see where that went. And so at the moment, as well as not having actually implemented the scenario particularly, this background step is going to fail here because we haven't got any mechanism for adding things to the database. So the first thing is, it's like, right, we've got to go into movie steps RB. One of the important things to remember about Cucumber, this is a little bit small, but so we've got these scenarios that we then got to, which are in the high level language that we might actually expose to a customer or client. You get these two files. The web steps is what you get. This is like, you should delete this file. This is this automatically generated kind of like basic ways of mapping certain things that I am on a certain page, given and when. This is sort of all your basic gnarly regular expressions. Actually, Sublime is not handling the regex syntax coloring quite so well in here. But so, for example, you've got things like when I uncheck, and that's the idea, is that you're unchecking a checkbox on a web page, and it's basically linking normal language to even lower level specifications. I think in Capybara, which is that system which drives allows Cucumber to click things in the web page and this, that, and the other. Anyway, but so what they've added for us is this movie steps thing, and it's got so for example, given the following movies exist, do movies table hashes each do movie, and it's got this flunk unimplemented, which automatically makes it fail. And what that's saying is, the first work that we've got to do in here is basically create these movies. And you might, I totally be forgiven for, like, where is that all about? The key thing here, what I'll show you, I think, was I don't want to show you exactly how to do that because that's the homework. But the key thing to notice here is that you can do things like this. You can type in the word debugger there, and see, just in case it's not clear. So, given the following movies exist, that corresponds to this statement here in this scenario, right? So this is something. This is some of the background of the setup, right? So we're getting all of this information from these about these movies. The little text strings there are going to become available here, and the trick is to work out what do we need to do in here in order to create the movies. And that's, you could just sort of type out some code, and you might say this, that, and the other, and keep rerunning. What I absolutely love about having the debugger set up there is I can go back over to here. Is this the right place? Yes, and I can run that. And what it's going to do is it's going to drop me off at this point in the code. I might actually screw up because sometimes it doesn't. If you put debugger and then end, it does some weird thing. I wonder if it will let me do something. Let me just see if I can do p. You always have to do p for printing out. But so in this context here, we're getting, so it's like taken that block that was in, what's it called, here. It's taken that and it said that's the movies table, and it's said right movies table, and then like let's turn it into hashes, and then for each one let's do movie. So this may now fail. Let's see, yeah. But then so p movie. So look, what's happened is it's gone through here and it's grabbed. Interestingly, not necessarily the first one. I guess it's put into a hash, and then it's the order is very. But we've got here. See the Terminator R and 1984. That's how really when it came out. Goodness me, a long time ago. Anyway, but so that's all there. So the trick is now to work out what could we do here in order to try and get that into the database. We've got to kind of pop it into the database somehow. And so you can write, right, what's the active record code that should we do something like movie find that hash, is that how we would create that in the database? And it's going to say no, that's not quite right. Anyway, so you can experiment here with running the code. I mean, the particular thing here is to have seen what's I think often challenging about working with something like this is you dropped off in the middle of here, and it's like movie. What actually is that data type? And so by doing in the debugger, even if we don't then carry on using the debugger, to have seen, okay, right, that is a hash of these kind of column names, as it were, attribute names to their values, and that's something Rails active record in particular is set up to allow you to do something very easily with a hash like this. And if you refer back to the Rails active record documentation, then that should be, and work through particularly again, having worked through chapter 4, if you've probably worked through all the code examples in chapter 4, then taking a hash like this and then having a movie created in the Rails database from that should be really, really, really straightforward. Okay, so I guess we'll leave that there. You want to remember to remove the flunk unimplemented afterwards, but assuming that we've got it to work, so I'm just going to remove now my debugger, and maybe let's just pretend that it's worked, like so, by adding in a thing there, just the time. So here I'm just going to say, I can say continue, and it will carry on, and I want to actually move now because in the next movie. No, it's got something. I mean, I've edited the file now, and it's all might as well just exit that and say yes. There we go. So then now, if I run this, it's going to think because I've sort of sneakily removed the flunk unimplemented. You can imagine that we have a perfectly working bit of code here that will do that. What will at least now happen is here, it will this will go green, saying that movies exist. Of course, there's a thing here. It's saying it cannot find the table movies. I think one of the critical things that we do have to do as well is set up the test database, which is rake db migrate. Is it probably something like this? Rake db migrate test or something. What is it? Or just even rake db migrate. This is one of the things, again, this certainly is in, I think, chapter 5. If you work through all of the code examples in chapter 5, it includes exactly how to get the database. Just, like the movies. There we go. Oh, so now, it still can't find movies. Oh, I'm going to go over here and I look at all Malware. Now, which was the window that I was working with before? I think it was probably this one. And if I just quickly pull up the history there, I was playing with SQLite, that's right. I can look back through and see all the different things I was doing. Yeah, I did rake db migrate there. I thought there was something that I did that was specific. Rake db test prepare. That's the one. That's getting the test database set up. rake db test prepare. So if I go back here, rake db test prepare, like so. That's also important. I need to actually run that before trying to write the code for creating that I was pretending that I'd written just here. We'll just see. Hopefully, this one Github is running. Yes. Okay. Yes. And so there it's going to say right. Yes. So now it's not right. So now it thinks it's completely. And you might think, oh no, I'm done. I'm all done. Actually, here now, this is the next set of work begins. That we have to create these actual this one's parsing, because it knows how to go to the Rotten Potatoes homepage, but then you see there's this list of things that we have to do in order to implement the the scenario. So if I go back to Sublime here, so then having assume that we've got this is now working there, that you're creating the sort of initial data for it. Then the trick is to start writing things in here. So scenario, restricted movies with PG or R ratings. And actually, if we go along into, so that was then that's this thing. One of the things that they sort of start off by saying is, well, it's quite tedious to write this, write out checking all these checkboxes. The first thing it asks you to do here, well, it says, overall complete the scenario, restricted movies, use existing step definitions, and this is kind of you need to fiddle around looking in the web steps and seeing what kind of things can I say here in the the filter one at the moment in order to do these different things. And you'll notice actually that they're saying as well use this particular kind of step definition. So they've got this where we were back in here, the movie steps. It's got given the following movies exist. We've just got that working to create things. We've got this one here when I uncheck or check the following ratings, and then it's got a hint about how you might do that there, and referring to web steps. So there's also little hints in there about how to make progress. But again, I'll just show you one of the kind of I guess I'm hopefully not giving too much away if I say here, basically they want us, something we want to be able to say something like this. So this is not precisely the correct thing, but this is how we might start doing the scenario. And so again, what I'll just show you there is if we put that in and we now exercise this, it's going to end up in here, which doesn't do anything at the moment, but I can put debugger in there, and then I can go back to here and hit this, and so that's going to run. And so now, whereas before we didn't actually have anything going on in this scenario of restricting the movies to PG or R, now I've just thrown an example in of the kinds of things that they want. I've spelled debugger wrong. But so you can see anyway, this fails now, all going red. Of course, you have to spell debugger correctly to get that to work there. We'll try that one more time, like so. And so what that should do is, as this, where's it gone? This is the filter movie, isn't it? As this, kind of fires off, it'll say, right, that corresponds to this, and then it'll hit debugger, and we'll be in the debugger. And so here I can look at uncheck and rating list and see what they are. So I can do p uncheck and see. Okay, yeah, this is one problem to note. Actually, I've noticed if you put the debugger at the very end of one of these things, it can kind of get sort of stuck. So you need to have some sort of thing here, what would be a good thing? I might do something like uncheck equals. Let's do an assertion. Let's do assert. Interesting. What did it do there? Give me a name. Yeah, it's lost this. It's losing the scope. I can say assert equal. I don't know. Uncheck, comma, I should be using should be and all sorts of kind of things and whatever that I haven't yet quite got as familiar with as I should be. But anyway, let's just change that there. We'll now exit that and hit that again. And oops, don't do that. scroll down. Yes, at the bottom. So now, so you want to make sure that your debugger statement is above, not the very closing end thing. Otherwise, it sort of stops when it's lost the scope of the particular block that we're in. So now here, there we go. So it tells me actually in the debugger, it says like, this is the line that we're about to run. And so if we said, I think, can I just type help here for the different things? Yeah, so you can get a list of available commands. You can sort of step over those and so on. But moving backwards and forwards around in a text debugger, I think is maybe kind of challenging. But so if we go here, p uncheck, we can see in this case it's nil. So in the first instance, the where's it gone? The filter movie over here. As given I check the following rating. So I'll just take a copy of that and bring that over into movie steps here. So what I've done, is when it's like given I check. So basically you can see that this regular expression, see it's matched here. So there's an optional there, and so this uncheck here, that corresponds to this, the thing that appears in brackets here. So what it's doing in the case where that's not present, we can see here that that's nil. Fair enough. Let's see what does the rating list look like. Rating list, like so, and that's G, PG, and R, and so that's the thing that basically appeared in this brackets for the regular expression, which we can see is that G, PG, and R. So now this is I think the debugger is so useful here of saying, okay, so I'm in this situation, I've got to do something with string split and whatever, but so the debugger has allowed us here to kind of work out what actually are the parameters that we've got available to us to do the work that we need to do here. And so you can even start in here and we can sort of say rating list split like so, and it kind of does something and it's not maybe the right thing, but you can even sort of play, you've got access to a variable there and you can kind of play around with it for a bit until you find a bit of code that you may then want to go back and stick in here and so on. So I think that's the key things. That should get you started. This other little step here, that's used. We're going to need that in the third part of this is the setup. It's like do the background thing, do one scenario for filtering movies, do another scenario for sorting movies. This again, there's more hints in there. That's going to involve implementing this web step here as well in order to get these to be used in these scenarios. And then finally for submission, in this case, what you're going to do is you're going to use this command from the root directory, as a root directory, like I don't want to be just there, do I? Let's go back. You want to be just inside the HW3 Rotten Potatoes here, so you can see that there's the features directory there, and then if you run this command here, control copy, and I can do control shift V to paste that into here, that'll create a little features.gz, and then that's what you need to upload here, and hopefully if you get it all working, you'll get an output a bit like that. Okay, right, so that's how to hopefully get you progress on homework 3. It's kind of, I guess in a final summary of my feelings about this. I think Cucumber is fascinating. I think the linkage between having a high level story and that being able to that's readable by sort of anybody, and that can drive the Rails website is very, very cool. What you will maybe find less cool is that the process of having to like link up, you've got to kind of like implement some movie steps and there's sort of painful little things you do on web steps, and you'll need to kind of connect up and be the cleverness, as it were, for translating these higher level things into sort of low level things that are happening within the web interface. And so that might be a bit painful, but it's important skill to learn. And once you can do that, you can start supporting. You build up, and there's lots of other libraries other sorts of steps and so on, and it's sort of getting easier and easier. But it's really important, I think, to understand how the scenarios, from the higher level, this is what you've got an avid moviegoer, and we've got a concerned parents. These are stakeholders for the application. We need to make sure that the things that they're expecting are reliably testable, and they'll continue to be in our site. So there you go. And then deliver that feature and show them and say, no, is that really what you wanted? And then maybe change the scenarios as a result. Okay, hope that helps with homework 3, and speak to you soon. Okay, bye for now.